The Arizona Coyotes drop their fourth straight, although it doesn't feel like it because it's been 12 days, since the last one, but we'll break it all down. Thanks so much for tuning in to the PHNX Coyotes Postgame Show. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah here with Petey. We got Danielle behind the Mac. Craig calling in for Mullett Arena in a little bit, which I highly recommend everybody sticks around for.
Stay tuned for that.
Because Craig sent us a text. I have arena news, and we are going to hear it when he joins the show. But first, let's talk about this game, Petey. A 3-2 loss. Bad start, but maybe not the worst finish ever. Just couldn't really overcome the mistakes.
Really what it comes down to is this team's struggles with playing the first 10 minutes of hockey games, and we've seen it for over a month now that their ability to start games on time is just horrific, and they're down to this game a minute 17 in, they're down 2-0 to the Stanley Cup champions. You can't overcome that, and I don't know what you have to do as a coaching staff to stop the bleeding on this. You go back and you look at the mistakes. There's the second goal, it's off Carcone's foot, and then it's off Kelsring. That's honestly a little bit of bad luck, but the first one ends up being a 3-on-1. Like, how do you give up a 3-on-1? Like, how does that happen? And then the third goal, you have all 5 players on one side of the ice. I know you've heard me talk about protect the middle of the ice. When you have 5 guys within a stick length of the boards, all on one side of the ice, no one's protecting the middle. Like, it should never look like that. It's just these mental mistakes, and it's the first 10 minutes, and this game was over. And they didn't have a shot on goal in the first 10 minutes. So they've got to learn to start games better, because after that, they're in this hockey game. If you wipe out the first 10 minutes, they win this game 2-1. So I think it's imperative that they get better starts coming out of this. But the good news is at about the 10-minute mark, things turned around. And I thought they played much better from then on.
Yeah. Earlier today, I hosted PHNX Bets, and my lock of the day was Vegas to score the first goal. I think it was -120 odds or something. And
-135 because we all hit it.
Oh, okay. -135. Either way, Vegas 19 seconds in, and I was really feeling good about my bets. That is until Connor Ingram got pulled early in the game, and there went my Connor Ingram over in saves prop bet. But I just flipped the goalies. I got it wrong, but that's okay. We can talk more about that later. But you're right. It was Vegas scores 19 seconds in. They score a minute 17 in. Jason Zucker cuts the lead in half, but then Vegas scores again, and you're thinking, oh God. Like, here we go. Arizona gets a big break with the goal being called off, even though that was the goal that got Ingy pulled from the game. So awkward, by the way. He gets pulled, but then the goal gets overturned, but you got to stick with it. They kind of showed him smirking a little on the bench. It is what it is. Obviously, it was the right move because Veggie had a really strong game coming in. But just, not enough to overcome the mistakes in this one, PD, despite an effort from Clayton Keller in the third period and a few spurts in this game where the Coyotes, held their own and had some good offense. But a team like the Vegas Golden Knights, like, this is not a bottom half team. This is a top half team, and you can't put yourself in that position.
No, and when we talked about that 10-minute mark, and it's funny because at the 10-minute mark, though, the Barrett Hayton line jumps over the boards with Hayton, Cooley, Gunther, and I know a lot of people were excited to see that line together and hoping for fireworks offensively right off the bat. And they might have been if they'd hit the net. So they had offensive zone pressure at the 10-minute mark for extended period of time. I don't know, 40 seconds, 5 attempts, 0 shots on net. And at that point in the game, you had no shots on goal. Like, I don't know what is wrong with this team that they miss shots or they miss shot opportunities down on that same play. And I know people won't remember all these things, but Dursey on that same play, after extended pressure by the Hayton line, Dursey gets the opportunity to come in off of the blue line and have a shot by the top of the circle. And he defers to try to pass it into the middle of the ice. And again, that gets broken up. And I'm like, you guys have one shot on goal. Like, what in the hell? Shoot the puck. And I don't know. I don't know what we need to do. I know at Mullett we get that the sections yelling shoot as much as possible, but that I thought, to me, with that line, they look good. They move the puck extremely well. And their first shift together, you go, oh wow, they're buzzing, zipping. But they just didn't get any shots on goal there.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at the numbers in this one, presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes. Shots on goal, 34-22 in favor of Vegas. Both teams 0 for 1 on the power play. Not a lot of penalties in this one. Perhaps the common denominator, Liam O'Brien, a healthy scratch. Not a lot of penalties. We've unlocked a new stat line, missed shots. Coyotes had 27 missed shots. Vegas with just 7. And then shot attempts. Coyotes 71. Vegas 59.
And I added that missed shots total clearly for a reason. When you look at that, 27 shots on goal missed. Now, statistically, because we're going to talk analytics for just 1 second, goalies stop. A good goalie's 0.915, 918, 920. A bad goalie's just under 900. The Hill's on fire right now, maybe about a 930, which means he's going to stop just over 9 out of 10 shots. If you miss 27 shots, that's 2.5 goals. So if you do the math, hit the net. Like, just hit the net. I don't know what they're picking corners for. I don't know what they're looking at. I don't know how you miss that many shots. 27 missed shots is egregious. And that honestly, that's a lot of missed shots. And not block shots, because block shots is a totally different category. If a player puts it off someone's shin pads, that's different. They're defending really well and they're in lanes. But if you miss that many shots, I think that's something that needs to be addressed, because it was consistent throughout the night. It was consistent throughout the lines, and that can't happen. So for me, it's another situation where this team does it to themselves. A minute and a half in, they're down by 2. They come back well. They play off in big spurts of offensive dome time for the next 2.5 periods, and they were actually the better team in parts of the third period. But they missed the net. So again, it's you've got to put all of these pieces together to win hockey games. When you have a team like the Coyotes, all hands on deck every night, no mistakes. They make mistakes, they lose. So it's frustrating, but you're 3-2 against the Stanley Cup champions, who are playing incredibly good hockey right now.
Just ended the Oilers' 16-win streak.
And you know what? The Coyotes were with them. Like, I thought the Coyotes played right with them. I didn't think that I have Vegas in the Stanley Cup Finals, and Vegas did not pull away from the Yotes in this one at all. So in that respect, some positives, let's take some positive away from it. So I guess there is some good news that they stayed close in a game, but I don't want to go back to 2 years ago where we're happy that they're close.
Yeah, it is true. And the Coyotes had won in 2 straight games against Vegas coming into tonight. I think we were all surprised when they shut out Vegas the last time they played them 2-0 in Vegas. And that's a huge testament to this team. So you thought maybe there's a chance, maybe this is a team that they play well against as of late. And then you just but when you get off to that start, it's just almost impossible to overcome. And I feel badly for Connor Ingram. Also 12 days off. You got to shake off the rust. Connor Ingram has been the stronger goalie for the Coyotes this season. How many of the goals were on him, if any, to start, Petey?
How many that were his fault?
Yeah.
You look at the second one is not his. Absolutely bounced off of a few feet. I don't love the third one, short side wrist shot from the top of the circle. Didn't love that one. I don't know what he's going to do on the first one either. I thought he was hung out to dry in this one early, and you never got an opportunity to see if he was going to get back in the game. I mean, he really didn't have an opportunity to perform in this game, but give it to Karel Vejmelka, and he's a guy I'm very critical of often on this show. He was really good. And he made some great saves. Again, he's halfway to the Zamboni door on 10 of them, maybe.
It always stresses me out when his back is to the play. Somehow that happens every time he plays.
It's
But
unbelievable. But maybe that's one of the silver linings of tonight's game is that Vejmelka gets excited and he gets hot and he gets a little confidence because he was clearly lacking confidence prior to this, and maybe this gives him a little boost and maybe that gets him a jump start in the second half. Ingram, I mean, it was so quick that it was over. I don't think that's going to really hurt his confidence much.
no.
But is it Vejmelka on Saturday now? And
Oh
this will be
boy, here we go again. Hey,
Yep.
I'd rather be thinking who's going to start on Saturday than anything off ice, but we'll get to that a little bit later. And yeah, before tonight, Connor Ingram hadn't allowed a single goal against Vegas in his career.
Wow.
And I knew when I was writing that down that I was probably jinxing it. So this one's on me. I'll take it. But Karel Vejmelka was perfect in his relief. And for that reason, Karel Vejmelka earned the desert dog in him because he made 28 saves for a 100% save percentage tonight. And I thought that once he was in net and once they came back after the first period, things really settled. You know, I thought the second period was really steady. They gave themselves a chance in the third, and he did what he needed to do in relief. And I think that's Connor, I mentioned before, Connor Ingram's been the better goalie, but it is nice to have two goalies that you can depend on in these situations, and if one's having an off night, the other can step in and be good. And now it's just up to the rest of the team to perform.
Yeah, I thought Karel was good. I thought he tracked the puck in really well, and like I said, I hope that gives them the confidence moving on because this team needs to have at least one of their goalies hot, but it sure would be nice if both of them were hot.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious your thoughts on, I know you already mentioned the Cooley, Gunther, Hayton line, but both Hayton and Dumba were back from injury tonight. Obviously, it's tough getting back, especially for someone like Hayton who missed a significant amount of time. Dumba a little less, especially with the All-Star break in there. It's kind of evened him up, but just any thoughts or takeaways from those two returning?
Really quick on Dumba. Physically, he was engaged in the game. He led all skaters on both teams with 6 hits. So it was nice to see him getting physically engaged. I think he needs to play with that physical edge to be involved in the game. So I was happy to see that he ends up the game +1. And for a defenseman to come out of the game +1 with 6 hits, I would say that he checked all the boxes tonight and coming back in the lineup. For Barrett Hayton, who's been gone a much longer time, you were concerned about the physicality that he was going to return with and what kind of an effort would he be able to play 13 minutes. And it wasn't a real factor offensively, although with that line, I think that's going to take a minute. I thought they had some, when they were in the offensive zone, you kind of got excited. And I talked about the missed shots. That line was horrific. And I want to see what they had for missed shots. Gunther, I guess, Gunther had 4. Where's 92? Cooley had 2. And Hayton had 1. So, I mean, there's 7 of the 27 were those 3.
Wow.
The one thing I want to say about Barrett Hayton, and again, when I'm wrong, I'll tell you, I said I'd be surprised if he takes faceoffs in this game because I thought that his hand would be a problem. They'd end up having Cooley take more of the draws and that Hayton would do more of the defending. He took 10 draws. He was 8-2. He was their best centerman on the ice tonight for the Arizona Coyotes. Absolutely phenomenal that he's able to take draws and be so strong on them when he had that serious hand injury.
Yeah.
So I think that's another bright spot. And you know me, always looking for the bright things to take away from a game. And I think Vejmelka's one. I think Barrett Hayton's another. And I think that's encouraging to see him have that kind of an impact now. Now that he's played this game, the lines are going to start to become more of a concern. Because this team's margin for error in staying in this playoff hunt is near zero. Like they have to win hockey games. They cannot make mistakes. So you've got to be careful when you adjust to have these lines move around. I don't know if McBain's really pushing the pace for 8 and 9. We really liked him there early. I don't know if McBain's helping him. I don't. And I think when you really need offense from this team, you need Schmaltz and Keller to be the guys driving it. You need to have somebody that can get them the puck and help them create offense. I'm not sure McBain's the guy for right now. I really like Jack McBain, but right now I think he needs to be in the bottom 6. I think he provides something better in a different spot in the lineup. So I wouldn't be surprised once Barrett Hayton gets another game or 2 back in the lineup that you see him moving up. It just didn't look right to me, this line matchup. And then add Ruzicka into it. And now you got O'Brien sitting out like this. They're going to have some roster decisions coming up as everybody's healthy. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yep. Well, lastly, before we get ready for Craig's arrival, and I know everybody's been waiting for whatever Craig has to say on the arena. With a loss tonight, the Coyotes are back at 500 for the first time since December 12th when they lost 4-2 to the Penguins. So, still 500, still in the mix there, but, not quite where you want to be coming out of the All-Star break if you're trying to push for a playoff spot. So we'll continue to monitor that going forward as the days go on. But, listen, Craig, we're grateful for him with all of this arena reporting that he's doing. He'll be here momentarily to update us with that. But I do want to tell everybody, if you want to be a little bit like Craig, you got to check out Desert Financial Credit Union to do your banking. That's where Craig does his banking, and that's where a lot of people have been doing their banking for 84 years. Desert Financial, they do checkings and savings account, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investments, etc. And by the way, once you start paying attention to them, they're all over. There's one like within a mile of my house. They really care about customer service. And right now, when you open a free checking account online, you can get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200.
Well, and you know what? We've talked about how Leah hosted bets today, and I actually took her advice. So it might have been a bad night for the Coyotes, but it was a really good night for Petey. I worked another game tonight. I had Matthew Barzal anytime score. That paid. Keller anytime. Vegas first goal score. I hit it all on my Bet MGM Sportsbook app. Also getting time for football. The big game is almost here. So what better way to enjoy your game with the BetMGM Sportsbook app? Sign up for the BetMGM Sportsbook app. Use bonus code PHNX. Place your first bet on the sportsbook. Wager through BetMGM Sportsbook mobile application for at least $5. You will receive $158 in honor of Super Bowl 58. $158 instantly and additional winnings regardless of your wager's outcome. Now, I've been hearing other offers from other places say if you win your bet, you don't have to win your bet. If you win or lose, you get the $158 instantly in additional winnings, no matter your wager's outcome. Check out the show notes for full details. And now, listen to Damon talk about the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms. This promotional offer is not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I was feeling really good about my bets today, and then I was all excited too because I chose the reason I chose Lawson Crouse anytime goal scorer is because Lawson Crouse is one goal shy of 100 career goals.
Wow, so that you were thinking that was going to push him over the edge.
Yeah, I really was, and unfortunately, I don't think the Michelli Bukestad Crouse line was the strongest line on the ice tonight. There was a lot of criticism of Matthias Michelli in our Discord tonight. I'm not sure what you thought about that line, but as far as the lines tonight go, maybe they weren't having their best night.
Yeah, you know what? I'm trying to read some of the comments on who's playing with where, and you're right. I just think that there's just something about it that's not right. And I don't know where you start. And I like Kerfoot. I like Kerfoot up the top line better. I think his pace is better than with McBain. So hopefully we see a change here going into this game because we said this team can't lose games. Like they've got to go every game you lose. Now you got to win 3. And so this is going to be tough for this team to climb back into this playoff race. The sad part is they're playing good enough hockey. And I thought for 50 minutes of this game, they hung right with one of the best teams in the Western Conference. So that's encouraging. You cannot continue to play from behind. You can't. And the teams that can do that, you're talking about teams that can put up 7 or 8. The Colorado Avalanche can give a 2-goal lead. They can because they can get it back. Arizona Coyotes can't. They have to stop playing from behind. Have to stop. So I don't care if you put on the board, we're going to defend for the first 5 minutes, and you dump the puck in over the red line. It used to be called the Polish defense because Team Poland, when they played Team Canada, remember how good Canada was, and Poland was just getting started in hockey. So what they literally did is they never went across the blue line, and they just let Canada, and they just defended. and they defend and defend and defend. And sometimes you have to, if that's what it's going to take for this Coyotes team to get out of the first 10 minutes scoreless, then that's what they need to do, because they're not focused. Each shift through, each line having their first shift, they're not focused. It's clearly they're not focused. They're not ready to play. So you have to change the way they're preparing. Maybe you change meeting times. Maybe you change their routine on a team stretch or a team meeting or a morning skate. Whatever it is you need to change something, because this isn't once or twice. This is 10 or 12 games in a row where this team is not ready in the first period. And I think it's a huge problem. So the good is they battle back, and they've been able to come back in games against teams that are superior to them on paper. The bad news is they're playing from behind in almost every single game they play. They cannot do that. They're almost out of rope in this race. Like, they've got to stop losing at the start of games.
Absolutely. Well, there are people in the chat are chanting for Arena News. They're wondering where Craig is. Well, I have good news, because he's here. Let's bring him in.
Oh my God, is he really?
Oh, Cody's stabbing me again, and I got an aura.
Yeah, you do have an aura tonight. You're glowing.
We should put Craig in the middle. Is that hard to do?
It is. We'll just leave him where he is.
Okay, I didn't know it was hard to do. I don't want to make. Sorry,
let's
Danielle.
Let's not make it too tough.
Danielle just took another shot. Yeah, that's too hard. Forget it.
No, that was my
Craig,
call.
You know how many people have been sitting here waiting for Craig? Like, a lot. They don't care what Leah and I
Yeah,
have to say.
Petey and I were like the opening act that everyone politely sits through. Oh, good job. Yay. Where's the headliner? He's here.
Yeah.
Just to hear about pizza?
Yeah, I know.
Huh. I mean, it was a big slice. It really was.
Did you have pizza?
When I bought it today, yeah, it was one of those pathetic days where I was an idiot. Like, Leah knows, like, the day started with me sending a group text to people who didn't need information from me today, because, it was that kind of day. Just a day when you're on the phone all day long.
Yeah, going on radio stations trying to, like, convince the country of Canada that the Coyotes are not relocating to Salt Lake City.
Exactly.
All that.
That's Craig's part-time job now.
It really is.
I didn't have time to eat dinner, so I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to buy a $15 slice tonight. And it was only $10.80 tonight. I don't know why. I don't know if they dropped the prices, but easy. And then when I opened the box, it looked like 2 slices attached. It was a really big slice. So I was like, wow,
your lucky day.
I'm getting 2 slices for $10.80. I feel like things are looking up here. Things are looking up. And speaking of things looking up, I know why you all are here.
Is this it? Is this it?
Like, this is not. I don't want to. I'm not breaking the internet today. Okay,
buddy. Before you say something, because I know I want to make people wait longer, because they've been waiting for the entire show. You might not think this is a big deal, but Leah and I heard the news and we're like, yeah, it's kind of a big deal. I mean, they're not getting shovels up, but kind of a big deal. So I just want to make people wait an extra minute, just because.
Okay.
All
right.
Go ahead.
Do we want to talk about Cody stabbing me in the neck? No, there's
No.
really no way for me to get rid of Cody. Well, Petey said he wanted to make him wait. Look at that.
Craig didn't get the memo.
No. I kind of need a tie. Like, you got to get me that tie so that I can wear it to a game. Yeah, we're driving people crazy here.
All right. What do you got for us?
What is it, Craig? I'm going to stand up and get the Arena versus Everybody during your bit.
I had a government source reach out to me, and I'm obviously not going to name the person or narrow it down any more than that. But this is a person who's familiar with, what happened today. As I reported earlier,
Petey,
this is almost as bad as the Mullett magician here.
You might have to start from the top. Just start from the top.
So, government source reaches out to me today. I'm not going to narrow that down, but this is someone who knew what was happening. I reported earlier today that, while people were freaked out that the parcel of land was not on the agenda for the meeting today at the Arizona State Land Department. And I had mentioned earlier that I had heard that you could do some of this stuff in secrecy in the executive session, which apparently the Arizona State Land Department has as well. And I'm very familiar with executive session because I'm on first name basis with 3 different city councils because I covered the Arizona Coyotes. So I kind of had an inkling that this could be a part of the process, and somebody confirmed that. And then, in fact, somebody confirmed that they were talking about the Coyotes deal in executive session, which means it's not open to the public, but stuff always leaks out anyway. What happened, and I think Richard Rodier announced this first on Twitter. He reported this, that they went from 200 acres down to 100 acres because the cost was just crazy for the 200 acres. There were a lot of development costs associated with that were going to be too prohibitive for the Coyotes. Greg Wyshynski reported this as well. But I did find out that they talked about that 100-acre deal in executive session, and apparently the meeting went very well. In fact, this government source, again, is not affiliated with the Coyotes, so normally I would take that with a grain of salt because you've heard a lot of positive projection from the Coyotes, and you're like, oh, yeah, okay, we've heard this before. This was a government source reaching out to me unsolicited, saying the meeting went really well, and he could see this thing all wrapped up in 3 months, which was eye-opening to me. 3 months. Again, we don't know how the NHL is going to react to any of this. We don't know what's coming from Gary Bettman, after the Super Bowl. But the idea that this could be wrapped up in 3 months was interesting to hear. Questions, anybody?
I mean, when you said that to us earlier, I was shocked. I think the reaction is, oh, wait, a conversation went positively, and things are looking hopeful. I don't know. It was just crazy, and what's wild about it is that 3 months from now is almost 1 year exactly since the Tempe vote failed.
Yeah, that's interesting as well. I hadn't even thought about that, but listen, and I'm still going to be skeptical. I'm still going to have questions. I'm still going to have doubts, but that was interesting. And the other thing that I can tell you is the 100 acres that they're looking at, it's right at the corner of the 101 and Scottsdale Road. That's the parcel that they've narrowed it down to. So we'll see. Oh, and one more thing, actually. I'd mentioned before that there's a lot of discretion with the land department, like we've heard, it could be 10 weeks, could be 17 weeks. It feels like the land department can just say, hey, we want to fast track this. Like, as the government source said to me, that's the great thing about, politics in Arizona. We can kind of do what we want in situations like this. So we'll see what happens.
Well, the way I look at this, though, Craig, there's a couple of big takeaways, and I know I don't want to get way ahead of ourselves because we've been down both roads before. Oh, they're leaving, and don't panic.
Yeah,
and we are good news. I don't want people to jump for joy yet. So
right.
There's somewhere in between, but there's some big takeaways. Positive government meeting. I think that's encouraging. I think hearing from 200 to 100 to a more manageable size of land, and now we know exactly where that land is at the northwest corner of 101 and Scottsdale Road. I think that's encouraging, and I think the biggest takeaway for me is 3 months, because we've been hearing to get something wrapped up in 3 months, the 90 days, like we're just not used to hearing those kind of timelines. That's I think that's really encouraging. Now that does not mean that checks have been written and the shovels are in the ground yet. There is a lot to do between now and that in the process. We've said, gosh, we don't know if a deal is going to get done. We don't know what plan A, B, or C is. But right now, for the first time in a very, very long time, there is positive news, Craig. So that I think that's something that, as we lay our heads on the pillow tonight, I think that's really good news. I think that's positive.
Yeah. But it like you said, Petey, proceed with caution. We've been here before, right? We've been positive. We've thought things were going in a good direction, then something can change, and you never know with government processes. But I thought it was interesting that this government source chose to reach out to me and tell me that.
Hey, Craig, one question I have is, though, is you mentioned it earlier, is what to expect from the league and what kind of a statement Gary Bettman or Bill Daly or the league and where their stance is on this and what are their feelings. I know when Gary spoke at the All-Star game, he said Morello assured him he can get the deal done, and I'm going to believe him for now. And so I'm curious to see what the league's stance will be once some of this news gets out over the next 24, 48 hours to see what their response is.
Me too. Absolutely. And I can't speculate. I don't want to speculate on what that's going to be. I don't know where the league's mind is right now. This is again, I keep telling people this is an incredibly complex story. Every possibility that's out there has so much complexity to it. It's really hard to predict. Anybody who says they know what's happening, they know what's coming. It's just, I think, is a nitwit. Just stop.
How many times did we hear that at the rink today? Over the last 48 hours, I can't tell you how many people are telling me, here's what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. And it's I'm literally all over the map. And the next guy in the next office, here's what's going to happen. I'm sure of it. There's literally, and I'm saying,
and the national reporters are saying that too.
Yes, and they say they know, but you know who knows? But really, who knows? No one. Not any. There is no one that knows. There's not a person on this planet.
Gary Bettman doesn't know. Bettman doesn't know how this is going to play out yet.
Alex Morello Sr. doesn't know how this is going to play out yet. They don't. They
Nope.
can all surmise and guess and feel like they're putting their best foot forward, but nobody really knows. So that's what you hate, all the wild speculation. It's encouraging that there is actually a piece of land that they're talking about, because in the tweet that the team sent out yesterday, Craig, one of the things that bothered me was narrowing it down to a few sites was part of one of the tweets they sent out. And I go, gosh, I already thought we did that. I mean, like, what are we talking about? Narrowing it down sites to multiple sites? Wait a minute. I thought we were going to be down to one. So this is kind of encouraging that we're talking about a single site.
Yeah.
And now we don't have to, like, that whole period in the Discord where everybody was sending maps all day. So now we know the site in mind. That's good news. And then the other good news is that this was the most positive thing we've heard in a week of extremely negative news and negative feelings. And I think, like, listen, I'm not saying get carried away, and I'm not going to try to get carried away, but it's just refreshing to sit here and not feel like I'm going to spiral into oblivion of stressing out about this. Again, proceed with caution. And I think it was Mike in the chat who had mentioned that 100 acres is bigger than what the Tempe project would have been. And that was something that you would acknowledge too, Craig, that this would be a bigger project than what was originally.
Thanks for reminding me of it. That is what I've heard as well. This is actually grander in scale than Tempe was. A lot of the same elements, but I've heard it's grander in scale. So interesting.
And Shelby says in the chat, y'all stop finding ways to be negative. Look, I don't think, and I want to be clear, I'm not negative about this at all. This is positive and great news. However, we're just proceeding with caution. I'm excited by positive news. It's great to have something positive happen surrounding the arena and the Arizona Coyotes. Absolutely fantastic. This is great news, and I hope the employees tune into the show tonight that I've talked to over the last few days that are concerned. I think this is a positive step in the right direction. I really, really, really do. This is great news, but it's not the end.
No, yeah, we're not being negative. We're being realistic here.
Right.
We're being objective. We understand all that's happened in this process, right? So you can't just say, "Woo, it's done," and get excited about it. You can take some optimism away from it, but like Leah said, proceed with caution.
I'll say, "Woo, it's done" when the puck drops on the first game at the new arena.
I don't know if we can go have a show from there live. It is like we can all stay at my house.
It's very close.
Do you want me to get negative? Can I get negative for a minute? And now we'll stop the end of that clip, and we'll get with the negative part now.
Sure, and I'll close it out with a positive part. So go ahead.
I to get to my house, I exit the 101 at Scottsdale Road. Just saying, if you're going to build an arena and hotels and restaurants and infrastructure and apartments, my life is going to be difficult for the next several years. So way to go. Maybe
that's a busy stretch anyway, right? Yeah, I'm curious what the plan. That's a busy stretch anyway. So I'm curious what they would do there. Yeah,
they're without getting to the road construction here, they've already redone Hayden all the way up, and they're redoing Pima currently right now all the way up to Happy Valley. Scottsdale's next. I mean, Scottsdale's needed a refurb for a very, very long time, and then in behind that is Pinnacle Peak, and so all the surrounding roads will have to get some new infrastructure. So I think that's really, really good news. You're seeing that part of the valley really grow. Apartments and shopping, and City North is expanding, and Desert Ridge is expanding. And I know for people that are in the Southeast Valley aren't thrilled about the drive. It's very similar to the drive to Glendale, but that part of the valley is really flourishing right now. So it is exciting, and I'm glad that there is just a site. So it's good.
That's great for you guys. It's too bad it's not in Gilbert, but I'll live.
I think that was plan C or E.
No, probably well down the alphabet from there. Yeah.
No, so this is really good news. So yay. I think for the people that stuck it out and got it on with Craig, I think it's good to hear some positive news. So everybody can have a deep breath tonight.
And again, when you come to your next game at Mullett, go to Venezia's and say, "Hey, I want that double slice for $10.80 because I heard about it on the PHNX Coyote Show."
Not a sponsor either.
Hi, Max.
No free ads.
Where's my sleeves of donuts, by the way, Max? Where's my sleeves of donuts?
Oh man! All right. Well, that's the arena update. Craig, do you have any comments on the game, or we just want to keep it to arena talk with you?
I just won. Like I heard you guys talking, and you're right about the starts. I mean, it was unbelievable to watch that tonight. But one thing I want to point out, and I'm not saying this is a defense because you still got to come ready to play. You still got to come focused. Vegas had played a game out of the All-Star break. They played that really big game against Edmonton. So they were a little more polished. Like they've been a long layoff for the Coyotes. So you almost thought, okay, they might take a little while to get their legs under them. But like you said, Petey, maybe you just compensate for that. Maybe you know that and incorporate that into your early game plan until you feel like you have your legs under you.
Yeah, you're seeing that of a lot of teams coming into this out of this long extended break. The teams that have played a day or two prior, the back to back's not fair because Tampa struggled on their back to back, but the Islanders had played one game out of the break and they looked really, really sharp. I do think there is something to be said for that. The Coyotes they lost 3 in a row going into the break, and then you haven't had an opportunity to get on the ice since. So I would expect them to have a better game on Saturday.
Yeah, the only other thing I wanted to mention is, I thought Barrett Hayton looked better than expected tonight. I really did. And I sat and talked with him for a little bit after everybody else left the room, and he talked about how hard. This is no surprise because this is Barrett Hayton. Barrett Hayton busts his ass whenever he is working off season or off ice or anything that has to do with preparation. He is a guy who prepares, and he put the time in, and I thought he looked better than I expected, honestly. Andre talked about that line having a really good first period and maybe slowly tapering off as the game went on. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind seeing that line together again because they had a lot of ozone time tonight. They were an interesting line to watch.
Yeah, I think, Craig, when we're talking about lines, I think that's something you and I and Leah can maybe take a Sharpie out tomorrow during the Friday afternoon fun day, OG's fun day show, because I'm not sure I loved the lines tonight, and maybe with O'Brien and Rajicka coming in, and being available, it'll be interesting to see if we can come up with something else. Maybe it'll be an activity for tomorrow.
I'm down. And for those asking in the chat, we have some videos up right now at PHNX_Coyotes on Twitter. Barrett Hayton talking about returning and playing on a line with Cooley and Gunther. Bear talking, so you can check out our Twitter feed for that. Craig, before we let you go, we have a $4.99 super chat from Roaring Fork. Can we see the ketchup socks? And for those who don't know what we're talking about, within less than 24 hours, the PHNX Coyotes community raised more than $500 for Heidi's Village, an amazing organization for animal rescue, and all in an effort to see Craig wear ketchup socks. So he doesn't have them yet. He'll have them soon. I promise we'll let everybody know when that day comes. But thank you again to this community for really coming through and raising money for a great cause. So
I can tell you that Greg Dunaway said the socks will arrive tomorrow. So sometime next week, I'll have the socks on the show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Craig.
Yeah. No, that creepy AI of Craig and ketchup socks.
That was hilarious.
Was that in the Discord or was that on social media?
That was Twitter.
That was Greg
Twitter?
Dunaway. So yeah.
Oh, that was creepy.
All right.
Was it Greg Dunaway that created that or someone else?
Yes, it was him.
Yeah. Doesn't surprise me at all. Yes.
All right.
So next week sometime I'll get him on.
Yes, I can't wait. I'll wear my ketchup chip socks in solidarity. But we'll see you tomorrow, Craig. I'm sure we'll kind of rehash this all more and maybe do our line exercise, and that's all on a Friday fun day tomorrow at 2 p.m. So we'll see you then.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to stop at Target on the way home and get me some John Stockton bun huggers to wear with those socks. So see you guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Oh my goodness.
It's
Listen.
funny.
It has been a week to be a Coyotes fan. It really has. And I think on more than one occasion, it has called for an OG's gummy because, oh my, the highs, the lows, the stress. OG's has been there with us throughout it all, whether we just need it to relax with some indica, feel a little bit more positive with some sativa, take a happy balance, a microdose, get to sleep easier. OG's has it all, and all in a delicious flavor as well. So check it out. To learn more about OG's gummies and where you can find them, head on over to ogsbrands.com.
And you know where you go after that? You go to Circle K. It is not just America's thirst stop. It is also America's don't run out of gas stop.
This feels pointed toward me and Danielle.
It is. I actually called you by name for Leah and Danielle. It's America's don't run out of gas stop at Circle K, which means it's the perfect time to sign up for their new free membership program, The Inner Circle. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Save 3 cents per gallon every day after that. And get every 6th free item on a selection of Circle K's favorite products, pizza, coffee, and their ice-cold fountain drinks inside those Polar Pops. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for free details.
We have another super chat from our friend Altex, who said, on a positive note, watched the Wildcats tonight. 3-2 win in overtime. Met some players, got autographs, a puck after warm-ups. Another Wildcats fan gave me his hoodie and met some of the players' parents. Altex, I love to hear that, especially as a Wildcat myself, and I used to work for the U of A hockey team, and so did Petey's son Jackson. Petey's son Jackson and I actually knew each other before Petey and I did, so that's a great story. Thanks for sharing, and also I'm really glad you had an amazing night. Bear down. That's awesome. Yeah. All right, well, let's take a look, Petey, at the upcoming schedule. It's been so long since the Coyotes have played. I have no idea what's coming.
Exactly.
All right. So we got the Nashville Predators on the road on Saturday. That's going to be a huge one as far as Central Division points go. Right now, Nashville is that third wild card, or not even the wild card spot, third in the wild card rankings with 54. They're tied with St. Louis there with 54 points. And then it's on to Philly on Monday. What a weird road trip. Nashville, Philly, that's it. Feels like a waste to go all that way and only play 2 teams, but Philly, they're having a really good season. Then it's back home to Minnesota, another extremely important matchup. Minnesota and Arizona are both tied at 49 points as of right now. And then the Carolina Hurricanes come to town. Coyotes, they had that frustrating loss to the Hurricanes right before the All-Star break. So some really huge games coming up here, Petey. They're really going to have to get some points here.
Yeah, one of the things going into Nashville, we talked about the Arizona Coyotes having this incredibly long break. Nashville played on the 31st, and they won't play until they play Arizona Coyotes. So their first game out of the break will be this Saturday against the Coyotes. So hopefully they get off to a slow start. Now the Coyotes have a game under their belt, they can get off in the first 10 minutes and actually get tied or even. So as we watch the game Saturday, we're all going to cheer for tied or even after 10 minutes. If they're tied or better after the first 10, I think that's a good sign for them. And I think that's possible against Nashville. I think it's a team they play very well against. They've had some success in that building too, so I don't mind that one. Philadelphia is tough. Philadelphia is overachieving this season, and I think John Tortorella really has that team going. That's a tough building for the Coyotes, and that team can play heavy. That's a concern, and they have to, in my mind, I think they need to win them both. And they have to get those 2 wins coming home, because I think Carolina is going to be hard. I think they've got some really, really tough Colorado's coming up a couple times in the next few weeks. So I think this road trip, they've got to get on a road warrior mentality, and I think they need to find a way to get 2 wins. And in Philly, I'm actually okay if they come out of it with it overtime, just press it overtime, get a point out. If you can get 3 out of 4 points on this road trip, it's a success. But you have to beat Nashville. You have to beat those teams in the Central, and you have to beat those teams that are around you. So that, to me, is a must-win at this time of the season, is Saturday against Nashville.
Yep, absolutely. And just looking at where things stand right now, I mentioned before that the Coyotes are neck and neck with Minnesota there with 49 points each, although the Coyotes have 1 game in hand on Minnesota, and then Seattle 52 points. Calgary, they're on a 3-game winning streak. They've made some changes, but that team really hasn't missed a beat. Unfortunately for the Coyotes, they keep winning because they're at 53 points now. Nashville and St. Louis each with 54, and LA has slipped down out of the top 3 in the Pacific down to a wild card spot with 56. So Coyotes 5 points out right now, but to get back in, they're going to have to string some wins together. You've even seen how high Calgary has jumped just with that 3-game win streak. So a 4-game losing streak for the Coyotes isn't really going to cut it. They're just going to have to grab some wins here if they want to be in the mix, because after that, it's a complete drop off from Arizona and Minnesota down to Anaheim. So the Coyotes, they're in that group of everybody stuck together. The Coyotes are in the bottom of that group now, and they're really going to have to fight if they want to at least be
and it's too bad
in the
Leah,
playoff picture.
If you rewind the clock back to that homestand, that 5-game homestand, and you started when they were just outside, they were just inside of the wild card spot before that 1-4 disastrous homestand. That's kind of where the wheels started to fall off. And it's too bad, because when they play good, this team has shown they can beat anybody in this league. They've shown it. I know it's hard to sustain that because they had to play near perfect hockey to do that, but they can. And so these mental mistakes and these mental errors to start games are just frustrating to watch, because this team can play better than that. And to have a 4-game losing streak going at this time of the season, it just doesn't bode well for trying to make the playoffs. So it has to end, and it has to end Saturday, and it has to be convincing. So I think they just need to play better. Now, when I mean convincing, they don't need to win 6-1. Convincing means I think they need to play the right way for 60 minutes. And if they win 1-0 or 3-2, that's fine. But they need to play the right way for 60 minutes. They just need to be ready at the start of the game and play hard for 60 minutes. That's all as a fan base you can ask for. It's for a team to play hard. If they lose when they play hard, then you can be okay with that. But when I don't think they're prepared to play. So that needs to change in this next road trip.
Absolutely. Good news is the Coyotes tend to play well against the Predators. There's always those teams that challenge the Coyotes. There's always those teams that the Coyotes play well against. Luckily, Nashville is one of those teams. So hopefully that plays in their favor this Saturday. Before we wrap up, a couple other nuggets that I wanted to touch on. Clayton Keller's goal tonight, his 21st of the season. He now has 388 career points, which ties Oliver Ekman-Larsson for second most in Coyotes team history and 8th in franchise history. So wanted to acknowledge that. Clayton Keller just coming off his 4th All-Star appearance. That's a really great statistical achievement for him.
Yeah, good for him. And he's going to continue to climb that because he's I can tell you what, the kid's got a lot. He's 25. There's a lot of gas left in that tank.
Crazy.
Leah, a lot of people in the chat, and maybe it was just one, and I just felt like saying a lot. We're talking about a meetup at some point. I know we're not announcing it today, but stay tuned, right?
Yeah, there's like 3 different meetups literally in the works right now, including one potentially in Tucson very soon. Just pencil in February 17th in Tucson. I'll just say it. Nothing official, but we're planning to go to Tucson that day and would love to see everybody there. But we have 2 other like official meetups on the horizon. So yes, keep it locked in. We'll announce it as soon as we know anything, because I know that we have not had as many meetups this season as we would have liked, but we will make up for it in the final stretch of games here. I promise. And in the meantime, it's always great conversing with diehards. The Discord, yesterday was a crazy day in the Discord, and it ended with everybody sending animal photos, and it was extremely
I don't know who started that. Who started that? I don't you were like second or third.
I was the second, but I think I forget who did. If it was you, that's great.
Because what a way to end the night. Because I was so angry. I didn't sit down. I was on my feet probably for 3 hours. You know me, Leah. When I'm anxious, I stand up and walk around. So I have this little loop in my kitchen around my island, and I'd check my phone, and I'd walk around and I'd check my phone, and I was just getting so mad. And then all of a sudden there were puppies and kittens, and then it just was like, oh, everything's gonna be okay because there's puppies and kittens.
That was literally pack therapy.
It was awesome, and everybody got on board. There were some strange things. There was a kangaroo.
There was a kangaroo. There was also a rabbit.
There was a gecko. Was it a gecko? The gecko lizard. There's some kind of lizard in there. It was really, really fun. Shelby says it was her. There we go.
No. Anywho, become a diehard. Get access to our Discord. Get 20% off merch, including the Arizona versus everybody crew necks that Petey and I are wearing. And by the way, I was online earlier. There's only a few left in stock of the crew necks and the t-shirts. So Seriously? Make sure you get this. Arizona versus everybody. It comes in the crew neck. It comes in the t-shirt as well. PHNXlocker.com. Don't miss out. I swear I checked every size. It says there's only a few left in every size of both the crew neck and the t-shirt. So if you want to get it, you got to get it soon. Both. Yeah, get both. I have both. I'm wearing, crew neck for now. We'll switch to the t-shirt when it heats up here, which will be sooner rather than later. But it just feels like a time more than ever that we need to be repping this. And by the way, a woman in the Target parking lot today asked me about this shirt and where I could get it. So hope to see her repping it around the hood soon. But it's the time. We gotta just stick together as Coyotes fans, and oh boy, what a journey. So we'll talk more about it tomorrow. We'll kind of wrap up where things are. I might have to have a Four Peaks tomorrow. It's been a week like that. Four Peaks beer, that's something that can help me get through this week as well, because sports are just better with Four Peaks. By the way, Super Bowl party this Sunday. Four Peaks, bring a 6-pack or a 12-pack of Four Peaks beer to a Super Bowl party. that's a welcome thing to bring to a Super Bowl party. I will be bringing some to the Super Bowl party I'm going to. And also at Fry's, like they have the things with all the different kinds in it, which is really cool. So you can have a little bit something for everybody, because we know that, you know, Petey likes his Kilt Lifter and I like my peach and Craig loves his IPAs, obviously. So Four Peaks, check it out. You can also swing by the 8th Street Pub, which we are talking about some events. Maybe we'll be there. It's been a while since we've been there. So you can visit fourpeaks.com/locator to find all your favorite beers and events. Check out at Four Peaks Brew or at Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. And you must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly.
Is your house looking tired and old? Is your spouse begging you to move because she can't look at the dirty, out-of-style tile? Like my wife, save the moving costs and the realtor fees and just get new flooring. With Empire Today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a price match guarantee. Empire Today can't be beat on quality, service, and speed. Empire Today is easy, quick, and convenient. Empire Today's services are on warranties. If an issue does arise, just call Empire. They service all warranties themselves. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/PHNX for details. By the way, I didn't mess that one up. That may have been my first clean ad read in 2 weeks.
Clean, just like the installation of your floorings by Empire Today. Except you were a little delayed on the applause.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay, well,
I am concerned though.
What?
Because we all know I'm babysitting my dog, and Wiley's way past Wiley's bedtime, by the way, like way past his bedtime. So he's grumpy. And usually when we do these late night shows from home, my wife's here with the dog and everything's fine. But I don't know where the hell he is. Like, he's usually sleeping under my desk. So do I worried? Like, did he go
So he's
out?
grumpy late night, like father, like son?
Did he go like to the bar or something? Like, I don't know where he is. I don't know.
All right, well, we'll wrap up. Any final
Better
thoughts
wrap it
on the game?
They need better starts, because for 50 minutes I thought they were a good team. For 30 minutes I thought they were the better team, but for the first 10 minutes they just weren't ready to play, and it's too bad. I think the bright spot today was Barrett Hayton and Karel Vejmelka. I think there were some real encouraging things there. It was great to see Dumba back in the lineup playing as physical as he can. It's time to start winning. They're going to have to go on quite the streak. And the biggest takeaway from the night is there was some positive news in the moving forward of an arena deal for the Arizona Coyotes.
Absolutely. Definitely the biggest takeaway, wins and losses aside. But we'll bring it back, because let's take a look at the punch card and see how things are going. This line is not off to a great start. Actually, identical start to the last line. 3-1 so far, but as Danielle pointed out to me earlier, game 50 against Nashville, like that has to be a win, because that would be a Connect 6. I mean,
it has to be a win.
It's a lock.
It has to be. I think if you're going to hit the BetMGM Sportsbook app, 50, 59, 68, 77, 82 wins. By the way, Shelby, did you see Shelby's comment?
Does the PHNX backdrop get larger at your house every postgame show?
The truth is, the answer is yes.
It actually has. And by the way, someone earlier said it threw them off, because it seemed like,
I know.
Why were
we were both in the studio?
Yeah.
But we're not. Petey's at home. But there's bigger ones on the way. And you think I'm kidding, but I'm
Lucky
not.
Leo, haha, the backdrop is taking over his home. Heidi's going to get home from vacation. Be like, what did you do?
Like the whole house. She got new floors. I get new wallpaper. Who was the winner?
Oh, man.
Anyway, yes, that is true, Shelby.
Oh, man. All right. Well, let's wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Be sure to hit the thumbs up on this video before you head out, whether you're watching live or later. And if you're listening on audio, be sure to leave us a 5-star review, and be sure to subscribe to wherever you get your podcast, because we have weekly audio-only episodes. We previewed this game earlier the week with Jesse Granger. We're going to be previewing the Minnesota Wild game next week with Joe Smith. So just tons of great audio-only content on the way, so make sure you check that out. And make sure you subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel as well, because there's a ton of extra content on there. PD went to Desert Trails Elementary with Nick Bugstad. That video is up on our YouTube channel. I have the Toronto vlog up on the YouTube channel. So all of that, it's not a live show, but it's all extra content that you can find on our YouTube channel, PHNX Sports. So check that out. And last but not least, you can follow us on Twitter at S. Peters Hockey, at Leah Merrill, at Craig S. Morgan, at Aberka Danielle. You can follow the show at PHNX_Coyotes. Enjoy the rest of your night, everybody. I hope you all sleep a little bit easier tonight, and we will see you all tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.